This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, January 10th show. I'm empowering our community, providing you with opportunities and solutions when it comes to your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, but you can always call into the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now, Debra Trappen with D11 Consulting. Embrace your uniqueness with personal branding. How do your clients see your business? Your branding tells your story, and today we're going to get some tips from Debra on finding out what your niche is. Debra, it's always a pleasure to have you here, and I introduced the lineup of studio is all powerful women, and being in a few times into the show and a regular contributor, always just a pleasure to have a conversation with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me back. I do absolutely love being on the show with you.
Thanks, Debra. And a little background of Debra. She is Chief and SaaS Moxie Experience of D11 Consulting. She founded the firm to help growth-minded women in their business and companies who want to serve them shine online by firing up their personal and business brands along with their attitudes. If you want to start a business, track more deals and clients, build influence, or amplify your voice, but don't have the idea of how to start it, that's what Debra does with her company. Get ready to clarify your values, purpose, and niche. Define what social media platforms are best for you and achieve your goals, all with lots of tech tips, oodles of moxie, and tons of fun along the journey. Debra's daily mission to ignite passion, infuse purpose, and inspire progress by connecting, engaging, evaluating, empowering relationships and ideas. Powerful, Debra. Thank you so much again. It's a long mouthful of information, but so powerful. And your words, and that's really what you're about, is you're about your words and being able to communicate those words on social media platform and helping people show who they are as a person, because really that's what we want to do when we're connecting in business. It's not about business. It's about our person and who we are and being able to connect. And then we share our expertise and what we have to offer them in business. Is that correct, Debra?
Yeah. People want to do business with other human beings.
Yes.
Not brands. And
exactly.
So, yeah, very, very true.
So let's talk about what you pronounce it as your niche.
Niche.
What is that, Debra?
Well, your niche simply is your well-defined specific focus. In business. And this is something that really eludes a lot of entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and honestly, even large, corporations and executives. They don't define this. And, it's impossible to be everything to everyone. And when you come from a place of scarcity, you tend to not want to define your niche.
Yes.
And so if there's one thing that everyone remembers, it's embrace abundance. Don't fear that when you actually hear what we're about to talk about today with niche statement creation, that you're going to lose something. Because the more defined and more focused your niche is, the more business comes your way.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
So, Debra, how do you define your own niche? And are there questions that we should be asking ourselves to determine that, to come up with it?
Absolutely. I've got a group, obviously, a group of questions to share with everyone. The first thing is really, looking through and defining who is your ideal client. What type of lifestyle do they want to live, or are they living and ready to leave? Also things like, how old are they? Do you have a gender specific niche that you want to focus on? I focus heavily on women in business and brands and others who want to serve them. So it's really the consumer that wants to understand how to work with and be successful with women. So, and in business.
Of course.
Just want to clarify that. And last, it's what are they passionate about doing? A couple of times ago, I was on the show talking about personal brand, and a big part of personal brand core 4 is that passion side.
Yes.
What do you love to do? What makes you smile? What inspires you? What sparks your soul tank? And it's important to also know that about your ideal client. one of the things that a niche statement will allow you to do is attract others who are like you. So you're doing business with similar minded people who do share the same things in common with you. So that's the first place, right? Talk about who that ideal client is. And then think about the last 5 clients you absolutely adored.
That is
working
an awesome idea.
Like, just take a moment and scratch them down on a piece of paper. Who were they? And then think about, why did you love working with them? What was it? Was it their style? Were they casual? Or were they very structured? Is that something that you loved? And so really take a look at that.
Yep.
So you've got that. And then the opposite side is, who are the last ones you really don't want to do repeat business with?
Sure.
They sucked the energy out of you. That every time they called, you kind of went, ignore. So think about those people and write out, what about them was it that just didn't fit? Because here's the reality: if it didn't fit for you, it likely didn't fit for them.
Exactly.
And so make sure that you're controlling how you're looking at that as well. And then for real estate agents, and specifically, what kind of real estate do you love to sell?
Yeah.
And you can translate that into any industry, but really, what kind of real estate do you love to sell? Do you love to sell condos? Do you love to sell luxury waterfront? And really determine what kind of real estate you want to sell. And that's going to help you define what neighborhoods you focus on, who that target demographic is going to be inside that ideal client.
Makes total sense.
And then last but not least is, think about the things that differentiate you from everyone else who's selling to that specific group. So that'll help you start to define your niche right there.
So is that the formula, Debra, that a listener would use, or what's the formula?
So I have 4 sentences that when I'm working with clients, when they're trying to, put their formula together, their statement together. And the first is, start with the first 3 words, I work with.
Okay.
So it might be, I work with first-time home buyers. And then you might say, explain what their problem is. So a first-time home buyer might really want somebody who's patient and willing to educate them on the process.
Okay.
So you might want to work with first-time home buyers who have a desire to learn about the process and are seeking a patient, a patient agent. And the solution was that they're ready to come and attend informational sessions. So how am I going to help them? How am I going to help them fix that problem or fill that need for them? And then what's my promise? So if I work with first-time home buyers who want additional education on the process, my solution is I offer first-time home buyer seminars or maybe a YouTube channel that helps them understand the process. And that in turn leaves them with a smooth process at the end of the transaction where they understood and are ready for the next steps.
Makes total sense. So you're finding out who it is that you want to work with, what people you're passionate about working with, what are likeness to you, what is the solution that you can engage and provide the information in that tier group, and then what's your promise back to them. So there's a great formula. If you're listening to the show, and whether you own your own business or you work for someone else, we always, in our own position, there are opportunities for us to be mini entrepreneurs and to really figure out. And if you're looking at this and you're figuring out where you're at, if you're working for someone else, doesn't fall within your trueness, maybe you need to be looking at something else. So I think this is a good exercise for our people that are in business as well as people that are working for other people. So let's talk about using our niche statement, Debra.
Sure. There's lots of different ways where your niche statement is going to come into play when you're doing your business plan or a variety of other things. So first is, one of the very first questions people ask us when we meet them for the first time at a networking event is, what do you do?
Yes.
Right. I mean, we love to talk about what we do for a living. It's the craziest thing in the States. So instead of just saying, I sell real estate or I do loans, you reply with your niche statement.
Got it.
So you tell them exactly who it is that you work with, why you work with them, and what your promise is. Now, that does 2 things. You are much more memorable.
Yes.
And you've also clarified for them who they know in their lives that need your services. So if you are first-time home buyer focused, they can think of all the people in their lives that are first-time home buyers or on their way to being that way. So it's much easier for them to refer you business.
Sure.
It also is a guide for your marketing. whether it's social media marketing or a postcard or a newsletter, you know that your target niche is first-time homebuyers. So what do they want to learn about? Think about all of the questions that you've answered in the last year and put those together in an FAQ. Okay. Answer the questions for them. Also, of course, things like updating your social media profiles, using specific targeted niche hashtags, right? So use the first-time homebuyer hashtag because they're out there searching that. And then your content strategy, specifically on your blogs, write for that audience. It immediately clarifies your content strategy. You're not going to write about luxury properties when you're talking to the first-time home buyer.
Of course. So, Debra, let's stay on the topic with realtors, and we have one of the industry leaders and top agent in our local market that's going to be talking after you, having a conversation with Debbie. But in the real estate arena, there was a time to where a niche might have been helping in the distressed property market, and then that niche changes when we're getting out of this. So can you change your niche? Or for me, I've been in the mortgage industry for 20 years, so I might have a different clientele base that I'm looking at capturing more of.
Yes, absolutely. You can change your niche.
Okay.
We are creatures at will, right? So let's go for it. You might start your business focused on first-time home buyers, and then you might decide, you know what, I'm ready to work with move-up buyers.
Okay.
Your buyers might be getting older, and they're ready for that, and so you might target that. Or you might want to double your income but not work twice as much, so you might shift your price point, which will have to change your niche. But that doesn't mean that you have to leave that group behind.
Sure.
You can still do referral business in there. You still have this great form of communication and connection to that niche. So bring somebody onto your team. Have them care for that niche that you've already cultivated. So there's no need to leave it, but you can definitely pivot for sure.
Yes. And Debra, as a wrap up, got to take it to commercial here. I want you to leave with my listeners the importance of sharing something that means a lot to them personally, who they are as a person. Give a tip of how to do that. How do they engage the fact that they love wine like you do, love animals, whatever that is, and bring it into their business?
Well, I think that if you look at, we'll use wine as an example. So I do share a lot about wine in my social strategy. I share if I go wine tasting, etc. And this Christmas, this is a great example of this. So I just share things. I use wine backgrounds for my memes on Wine Wednesday. I kind of create a really niche focus around that community. I got like 7 wine glasses, custom wine glasses for Christmas.
Wow.
It's
so everybody knows.
They know.
Yes.
And they feel excited because they know what they're going to bring me. And they know that I'm going to love it.
Sure.
And it just creates a deeper connection. And it's something fun. And then I give wine for gifts to clients. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it
makes
just
sense.
It really weaves who we are as people into our business.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, isn't that what we all want? We don't want to feel like we just worked all day. We really want to feel like we enjoyed our day with people that we really, truly wanted to spend our time with.
Makes total sense, Debra. Thank you so much. Thank you always for coming into the studio and sharing your niche and helping women and men run their business and really understand how to connect on a deeper level with who they are and being able to communicate that to their clients. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up next in the Money Hour, don't miss out on your dream homeowner or your dream home because you're missing out on the opportunity available in today's real estate market. Industry leader, regular contributor of my show, Debbie Walter with RE/MAX Northwest Realtors right here in 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.